Rebecca, the Frugal Resinista. I'm the mom of 5 amazing little kids, but I discovered a couple years ago that I needed something that was just for me, so I tried resin painting, and I fell in love with it. But I quickly discovered that being a resin artist was really expensive. So I started exploring ways that I could create beautiful art but do it on a budget. Once I discovered that that was possible, my new goal became to teach other people how to do the same thing so that resin art could be accessible for anyone. I believe that there's an artist in all of us, and we just need the opportunity to discover it in ourselves. Thank you for joining me on my art journey, and I hope that you create your own art as well as you learn from my videos. Remember, no matter what your final product looks like, your art is beautiful because you created it with your own hands. Ooh, it's on fire. Hi everyone, Rebecca the Frugal Resinista here. I have a fun and really simple geode to show you guys today. A lot of people have asked how I did the geode that is on the front screen of all of my videos that has some greens and golds and glitter and things. And I didn't make a video of that because I painted that one before I was doing videos. But I'm going to show you guys how to do that again. So here's a fun frugal tip for you. This is a wooden sign that I got at our local resale shop for $3.55, and it's got 2 cool things about it. The first is that you can take this little stick out and put it in the bottom hole, and it will prop this up to stand up, or you can take the stick out and slide it onto a screw here and move it so that it can't come off of the screw. The other cool thing with the ones that have this long space for the screw is that you can balance your piece. If you have more stones on one side than the other, you don't have to have it hanging in the middle. You can kind of move it around. So for only $3.55, I was really excited to have a piece that was finished on the back and that was already able to hang, because then I don't have to worry about it. So the front of this is sweet, but it's not my style, and I am going to just tape around the edge here. And then I'm going to prime this with a white primer, and then I will start using my resin. Alright, my favorite primer to use on geode art or any kind of resin art is Valspar's Stain Blocking, Bonding, Primer, and Sealer. And this is really good on wood because you want to make sure everything's sealed. Now this already has a picture on it, but because they tried to make it look a little bit older, the edges were obviously sanded, and that's bare wood. So I'm going to go ahead and coat this whole thing with this primer. And it also is a really good thick kind that will completely cover the picture that's on here. So I don't even need this to be 100% covered because the resin will cover the rest of it. But this primer is really thick and it dries kind of coarse. Not so coarse that the resin won't look smooth over it, but enough that the resin really has something to grip onto, which I like. I use a 3-inch roller. You can use a brush, but it leaves a lot more brush strokes in it and doesn't give quite as even a finish. And then I use these paint tray inserts. I don't even use the tray because I just don't need to with the amount of primer I use. And I reuse this one. Obviously, I've got a bunch of old paint and stuff in there. But it's easy and it's super inexpensive. Alright, my primer is dry. It's been about 10 or 15 minutes. And the next thing I'm going to do is use my glue gun and start adding some glitter and some stones. And I'll tell you real quickly what I'm using for both of those. I am using sparkling glitter from Target. I had a birthday gift card and grabbed some different glitters. They have really cool chunky glitter that's a few different colors. So this has a light green and a dark green mixed into it. And then I am also using from Hobby Lobby this extra fine glitter, and it's actually called Silver Champagne, but it's an even mix of silver and gold glitter, and it just looks really pretty. So I'm going to be using that as well. And then in terms of my stones, I've mixed some together. So in here I have gold, just broken glass, and I believe that this is actually just clear glass, you know, that they spray painted, and it is $3 for this whole size at the Dollar General. And then I mixed in with it some clear mirror glass from Michael's, and then I also added from Stone Coat Countertops some of their Gold Rush mica flakes. And this is just a really pretty combo that I like using. And so when I run out of glass in these containers, I save them. And then if I have a mixture that I want to do, I put them in. So that's what I've mixed together. And then finally, I do crush some of my own glass. And I can show you guys that in a separate video how I do it. Or you can just look up how to crush glass for Resin Geodes. I have some just a really pretty lighter green in here. So I'm going to kind of put that in a few spots as well. So I'm going to use the glue gun and start with just deciding where my different layers are going to go. I want some of my colors to mix together, and I want some of them to be defined lines. So I'm going to use the glue gun, and I will stick sparkles and things down. I'm also going to use it in a few spots and use my Testors brand enamel paints in gold and in metallic green. And I'm going to use just a tiny paintbrush and actually paint those colors over a few of the lines just to give this some more depth. And then I will be mixing those two colors into some of my resin to pour as well. So I'm going to speed this up, and I hope you enjoy. Brush this off. You saw me a little bit using my paintbrush to brush some of this off. I'm going to do it into the trash can. And then from there, I'm going to move on to mixing some resin, and we'll get going with pouring. Just in case you guys hadn't noticed, I did use a glove when I was doing my green glass, because since I made that myself, crushed it myself, it's not tumbled, so it can be really sharp. So make sure if you're using your own glass that you do a really good job of protecting your hands from the glass. So I'm going to clean this off, and then we'll come back with the resin. Alright, before I mix my resin, I'm going to just briefly show you guys what colors I'm using. I am using Stone Coat Countertop Quick Coat resin, so this only has a 15-minute working time, and once you add acrylic paint to it, that's even a little less. So I'm going to have all of my colors prepped and ready here. So what I'm doing is I am using Apple Barrel White. This was $2 at Walmart. And I mixed that. Oh, I got a mess. I mixed that with Pearl-Ex. Next I have a dark green, Evergreen by Deco Art. This was $1 at Michael's. And I mixed a little bit of Pearl-Ex powder, apple green with it. The next one I also did Pearl-Ex powder and apple green, and this is a Craft Smart Spanish Olive. In the next cup I have just my Testors brand enamel paint that I used to paint this gold line. And then I have the gold silver glitter that I used on these, and I have that green glitter that I used. In the last cup I mixed Craft Smart Lush Foliage with my green metallic enamel paint. So I'm going to speed this up again, mix my resin, and it all has to go fast. I'm finished. This piece is looking really cool. I'm going to let it dry, and then we will come back and I will show you guys how I pull the tape off, and I will draw some acrylic lines, and then we will probably do a top coat. I'll probably go ahead and do a clear coat because I'll want to adhere my acrylic paint pen lines in, and also I didn't get a chance to put a lot of clear into these stone sections. Alright, I've let this sit overnight, and now I'm going to draw some acrylic paint pen lines. I am using Craft Smart brand in ultra fine tip in gold and white. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to pour a clear coat over the top of the whole thing. So as I got farther into this, I decided I don't want to use the white pen because I feel like it looks nice the way it is with just the gold. And I've already got some white mixed in there nicely. So I'm going to let this dry for just a couple minutes here and peel off my tape. And then I will pour my top coat. A couple notes on peeling tape. This should come off pretty well, but what I'm going to do just in case is I'm going to go around where the tape starts and where I have some thicker chunks of resin coming off. I'm just going to heat it up with my blowtorch a little bit because that will help the resin to soften up enough for me to pull an even tape line. Alright, all of my tape is off. That's pretty much it. I'm going to do a clear coat, and I think what I might do, because the edges of this have some of that sanding as well, I kind of like these rough edges, but I think what I'm going to do is let my clear coat pour over them to seal in the raw wood. And so I'm going to add tape along the back here on the bottom so that when I'm done with the clear coat, I can peel drips off the bottom. So we'll do that real quick and do the clear coat, and then we're finished. Alright, you guys, if you are not used to doing clear flood coats, I'm just going to give you a couple tips on the way I do them. First of all, I need to cover my glass still, and the glass that I crushed, the green color, that is really sharp. So I want to make sure that I drizzle resin over the top of all of that so that I dull all of the sharp edges. But the opposite problem is that with mirror glass, like the clear that I used from Michael's, if you completely coat it in resin, that mirror effect tends to disappear. So I'm going to do my best to cover the green totally with my resin, and then to dribble clear resin around all of my other stones. From there, I'm going to cover this whole thing evenly and use my stick to spread it out. And I'm not going to go to the edges until the end, because if I start with the edges, I might lose too much resin and not have an even coat. So I will get to the edges, but I'm not going to yet. got my resin on those spots, and I did add just a few pieces more of the glass, the mirror glass, to make sure that I still got that good sparkle. The next thing I do when I am doing a flood coat is I try to look at it in sections. Now, if I have glass going all through my piece, I will tend to go in between the glass lines. I don't as much here, so I'm still going to follow just some lines that I make up as I go, because you have to really watch that you have an even coating, and it's easier if you have a focus. Like this corner I can make sure is even, and then in between this glass I can make sure is even, and then I'll go from this green over and just kind of keep taking a look at everything to make sure that I'm not missing any spots and that the whole thing is smooth, and also to make sure that I'm hitting all of the different parts of it with my torch. So I'm going to go ahead and start pouring like that, and then I will just at the very end use my finger and get resin around the edges. Guys, here's a close-up, and I'll take some pictures of it displayed once it's all cured. Thank you so much as always for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And don't forget that you can find me on Facebook and on Instagram as the Frugal Resinista. I appreciate so much that you guys continue to watch. Hope you have a great day. Bye!